Welcome to Nerds4Life for our second episode of Nerds4Life. By the way, that's Nerds4Life with the number 4, not F-O-R. So that's nerds4life.com. So make sure to head to there for all pop culture news and, well, reviews as well. Now, today we've got a massive show. We've got Boruto news. I mean, there's possibility that Gaara might be a Jinchuriki again, and that'll be revealed in today's episode as well. So we're going to be discussing that a little later on. We've also got some My Hero Academia and some Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now, the latest DLC is rumored to be coming very soon, and we're going to be discussing that pretty much. Now, I know most people prefer the Wrath of the Dragon intro, but there's something about that intro that just gets me. I don't know what it is, but I just personally love it. I think it's from all those years of watching Cheese TV, and it just brings back the nostalgia. That's what it is. Now, Dragon Ball FighterZ is Bandai's latest console video game for the Dragon Ball franchise. It was released a little earlier this year, and there was a lot of hype surrounding it because it was the first Street Fighter-like video game that we're going to be getting as a Dragon Ball in the Dragon Ball Z franchise for a very long time. Most of the others have been that 3D maneuverable sort of fighting games, and that's been really successful. That's been very successful, probably in the last 3 or 4 Dragon Ball Z games predominantly, and even some of the other ones older than that as well. So people were really hyped for the game, and then it came out, and honestly, it probably wasn't as good as what the hype said it was going to be. The following actually decreased quite a bit. The PC user, so the online PC usership completely diminished after within a month. It was actually scary how quickly people were dropping off from this game. Then they released the next DLC. The next DLC was released, announced, and it was going to be great. You know, it was Bardock and Broly, two of the most popular Saiyan characters in the entire series, Bardock being the father of Goku and Broly being the original legendary Super Saiyan, one of the coolest transformations Dragon Ball has ever brought us. And we also got Bardock's Super Saiyan transformation too, despite it being non-canon, but we got it. Yet that didn't stop the criticism. Honestly, that's because these characters probably should have been included in the original game. Now, yes, we get it. We haven't had a game released as a full package in years. And I mean a very long time. I was a child the last time I remember a game that you bought the game and that was it. There was no extra things. It was all in one package. Or you have to buy DLCs. That's fine. I understand that. But I think I personally, and a lot of Dragon Ball Z fans, feel as if that the Dragon Ball FighterZ game didn't give us enough on its original purchase. There were a lot of limited characters. I mean, the Dragon Ball Xenoverse game, and the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 game, and Dragon Ball Tenkaichi 3, and even the Dragon Ball Battle of the Gods before that, they all had an enormous amount of characters. They had an incredible amount of characters. I'm talking about side characters from the movies that we haven't heard of in years. Even side characters from the actual anime. We had so many characters. And it's arguably one of the reasons why Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is the most popular Dragon Ball Z game ever made. It was because of the huge lineup of characters that we were able to play, control, and fight with. But the thing is, Dragon Ball FighterZ had limits. It was limited to a certain amount of characters and a certain amount of transformations as well. And many fans found that kind of annoying. And so when Bardock and Broly came around in the latest DLC, fans turned around saying, why weren't they included in the original game? Now we have to pay extra for, main characters that usually are included. I mean, yes, usually, I have to admit, in the Xenoverse games, Bardock has been an extra as well. Yes, that is true. But Broly is one of the most popular characters the series has. How is he not included? How? Yes, they have included some major characters, but still, I feel as if, when you get a DLC, you want something that's something extra, not something that you feel as if you should have gotten with your original purchase. Anyway, that DLC's done and dusted, and the latest DLC is coming out. Now, Dragon Ball FighterZ it's only been maybe about a month since the previous DLC came out, and there's been a lot of hype surrounding the Dragon Ball Legends video game. But remember, Dragon Ball Legends is mobile only, so it's kind of different to the Dragon Ball FighterZ console game. Now, in the midst of all the Dragon Ball Legends hype has been the upcoming Dragon Ball FighterZ DLC, which Bandai has actually teased us. Now, we know that the characters that are coming up in the next few DLCs include Android 17, but his Dragon Ball Super version, which is essentially the exact same thing, slightly stronger with a different uniform. And then there is base Goku and base Vegeta. So that'll be base evil Vegeta, by the way, when he first attacked Earth. And there'll also be base Goku from when, he fought Vegeta in that timeline. Again, two characters that arguably should have been in the series from the get-go. Should have been in the game from the get-go, but for some reason were not. And then there are two of the most highly anticipated characters, and they are tipped to be in the upcoming DLC. And that is Super Saiyan Blue Vegito and Fused Zamasu. So, two of the strongest fighters to exist in the entire series. Arguably, honestly, at the level of angels, to be honest. And they're going to be ridiculous when they enter the game. Yes, Broly's a bit of an OP character at the moment in Dragon Ball FighterZ. If you're fighting against Broly or you're fighting with Broly, shit's going down. So, at the moment, yes, Broly's the strongest, but Vegeta and Fused Zamasu are easily going to be much, much stronger than Broly himself. Vegeta himself is ridiculous. Just ridiculous. He is the fused version of Goku and Vegeta. Now, Goku and Vegeta both have their own weaknesses and strengths. Goku, he's a bit laid back, and, that could be a strength and a positive at the same time. Well, Vegeta, he's too tense. Now, this was revealed in Dragon Ball Super, that both of them sort of complemented each other's strengths and weaknesses. What one lacked, the other one had plenty of. And that's why when they fuse, they create a super being, and that is Vegeta. Now add that with Super Saiyan Blue, and you get a ridiculous monster of a fighter. Now, obviously, as Dragon Ball Super continued, if Goku and Vegeta were to fuse again, they'd probably have Ultra Instinct and Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. Also, Super Saiyan Blue Ascended, which is Vegeta's form. So I'm just trying to imagine what an Ascended version of Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken would look like. And honestly, it's pretty cool in my mind. And also Ultra Instinct as well as Vegeta, because he should be able to access that transformation because of Goku. Anyway, those aren't coming to the game because, you'd probably have to pay extra for that. But yeah, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta is coming soon, and Fused Zamasu. Fused Zamasu is the fusion of Goku Black, who is actually the fusion of Goku and Zamasu already, and, Immortal Zamasu. So he's a pretty ridiculous character as it is as well. Now, Bandai actually released some snapshots earlier this week of the upcoming Zamasu character. Now, we know that he's coming soon, and there hasn't been a release date announced just yet, but Bandai is working on bringing him soon. So you can go check that at nerds4life.com, as there was an article published today by myself, actually. Yesterday, by myself, showcasing these awesome snapshots of Fused Zamasu. And by the way, they do look pretty cool, and I personally can't wait to play with him in the Dragon Ball FighterZ video game. Now, moving on to arguably one of the greatest video game series that Dragon Ball has ever had, and that's Dragon Ball Xenoverse. Now, the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3, that's right, you heard me correctly, the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 video game has been rumored in recent weeks. Now, again, we wrote a little bit of an article about what we know so far on nerds4life.com. So that's nerds4life.com. So you can check that out. But Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 has been tipped to be in the making, or at least be thought of by Bandai Entertainment. However, we don't believe that this is coming anytime soon. Let's be honest. Dragon Ball FighterZ was released a couple of months ago. It was maybe 3 months ago max. And there's only been one DLC created, with an upcoming DLC within the next month coming. Why would Bandai create another console video game so soon to their previous console video game. They'd essentially be shooting themselves in the foot. It's not good business. You don't do that, especially with all the DLCs not even out yet. It doesn't make any sense, particularly because, I'm going to be honest, the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 video game would probably completely shit on the Dragon Ball Fighter Z video games. The Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 is arguably one of the most highly anticipated video games. And you know why? Because they aced everything. Everything was amazing. They had their own storyline, a brand new storyline that is completely different to the Dragon Ball Z other video games, or the anime specifically. And then they also had what-if scenarios. They had amazing online content, so many side missions or co-op missions that you could just take part in. And then there was the tournaments, which were great, the online tournaments. You've also you also had your battles as well, which every Dragon Ball Z game has. You could fight your friends. It was amazing. But the most easily the best part of the Dragon Ball Xenoverse video games was the fact that you can customize your characters. You could build any Saiyan, any human, any, I don't know what the Buu race is called, so I'm just going to call it the Margin race. And then anything you could possibly think of, you can create, and you can make them strong. You can pick their skill set, their masters, their tactics, their level of power, everything, their kit, everything. It was just awesome. And after getting two amazing video games in the Xenoverse 1 and 2, we were given Fighter Z, and Fighter Z honestly isn't as good. And that's why there's a lot of talk about Xenoverse 3. And because of this talk, and huge talk, by the way, like there's a massive fandom waiting desperately for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3, there's no way in hell Bandai is just going to completely forget about this series. They are going to bring Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. We just don't know when exactly, but it is rumored to be soon, and it'll be after the Dragon Ball Legends game comes out too, and it'll probably be after Dragon Ball Super airs their first movie, because they'll probably include those characters and that unknown Saiyan in the upcoming Dragon Ball Xenoverse video game, which would be honestly pretty awesome. Now, furthermore, in Dragon Ball news, I had the privilege of meeting Stephanie Natalie. Now, she is the voice actress of Kid Gohan and Kid Goku in Dragon Ball Z. Now, yes, she hasn't appeared in Dragon Ball Super. Now, I got to ask her a few questions at Supernova Melbourne over the weekend, and I got some interesting answers. Now, I asked her who her favourite character was in the entire Dragon Ball Z series. Now, being the voice actress of Goku and Gohan, two of the series' main characters and most popular characters, you'd assume it would be one of those two. However, it's not. It's actually her third character that she voiced in Dragon Ball Z, and that is East Kai. Now, for people that don't actually know who she is, she's actually in the filler arc leading into the Buu saga, where Goku and Pikkon competed in a tournament where all the four corners of Universe 7 fought it out, and well, whichever Kai won. And she was East Kai, the female Kai, and she personally loved playing that character more than anyone else in the Dragon Ball Z series. In addition, I asked her about Dragon Ball Super, and because she hasn't had anything to do with Dragon Ball Super just as of yet, obviously Kid Goku hasn't been in the series, and Kid Gohan hasn't been in the series, neither has Gohan's first girlfriend, again, another filler that she voiced, and East Kai. So there hasn't been any reason for her to be in the Dragon Ball Super series. And I asked her her thoughts on the Dragon Ball Super series, and turns out she hasn't watched it, which honestly really surprised me. Now, coming up is Boruto news. Boruto airs tonight, and honestly, it's probably the most exciting arc that we have seen in Boruto. And you know why? Because it's not filler. Finally, we've had 50 episodes of filler. Well, I suppose we had a Chia Shin arc, which was okay, but they really rushed it. It was only 2 episodes. They really could have stretched that out a lot more. And then I suppose, yes, the Mitsuki episode was pretty cool, and, well, yeah, the 7 Ninja Swordsman arc was okay. But honestly, a lot of the Boruto series has been filler, and it has sort of pushed away a lot of the Naruto fandom towards the series. Now, this is from personal experience in hosting a Naruto fan page, and from what I can tell, there's been a lot of hate towards the Boruto series, but we've entered the most exciting arc of the series with the Outsuki attacking finally. They're finally making their move. We've seen Teneri sealed. We've seen the Chunin exams almost come upon us, and we're in that lead up where Boruto found his first ninja tool and is using it for the first time, and we know how that turns out because this is the remake of the Boruto movie. Sasuke's finally come back to the village for the first time in years and has agreed to train Boruto. Now, we'll see more of this training coming up in tonight's episode. By the way, that's Melbourne, Australia time, so if you're listening in through another country, I don't know what time it's going to become, what time it's going to air in your country, but in Australia time, it's going to become tonight. And I mean, we're probably going to get extended versions of Boruto's training with Sasuke. The creators of Boruto have already confirmed that pretty much this entire arc will be extended slightly. I mean, we did get to see Sasuke's fight with Kinkishi extended a little bit. I mean, I suppose it wasn't that much more than what the movie showed us, but it was a little bit more. This will be the episode where we get to see some massive things. Not only Sasuke's training of Boruto, but the fight between Momoshiki and Killer Bee. We haven't seen too much of Killer Bee in the Boruto series just yet, and we didn't see that fight too much in the Boruto film, so we're going to see a lot more of that in this upcoming episode that airs tonight. Now, we don't know if it's going to be wrapped up very quickly. It could be stretched over a couple of episodes, but considering the way the whole Boruto series has gone so far, all the fights have been wrapped up very fast. Now, Naruto was renowned for prolonged battles, and honestly, it was awesome. The Zabuza battle lasted for episodes. The fourth Great Shinobi War just would never end, honestly, which was great because I loved that arc. But so far, all the other fights in Boruto have been wrapped up very fast. For example, the first mission that Boruto's Team 7 had, the battle between them and those, supposed Junin-level ninjas lasted one episode. Considering how epic the Zabuza fight was when the original Team 7 fought them, I was hoping that it was going to be roughly around the same sort of level, and it really wasn't. It was quite disappointing. And then we've had the Uchiha Shin arc, which again was rushed, and that fight didn't last very long either. So, judging from what we've seen in the past, I don't think that this is going to be a very long and epic fight. I believe that the long and epic fight that is going to be coming up is the one with Kinkishi and Sasuke versus, Boruto and Naruto. That will be a really good battle. And if they rush that, I'm going to be disappointed and probably drop off the Boruto series because there was so much potential. Everyone in the opening episodes of Boruto, they wanted to know, what is the Jogan? What are those seals that appeared on Boruto's arm? Who is Kawaki? What is going on? How is Konoha destroyed? But then I feel like they're ruining it. And personally, I feel like they're ruining it. It is getting better. Honestly, the Boruto arc so far has, the Boruto movie arc so far has added extra things that we didn't get to see in the Boruto film, which I love, by the way, because Dragon Ball Super didn't do that. When Dragon Ball Super remade their movies, it was pretty much the same thing, added, a couple of things as well, but they weren't that great. So far, the Boruto additions have been awesome. So I'm looking forward to this Killer Bee fight against Momoshiki tonight, but there is one extra thing that we got to see in the preview for Naruto Next Generations, and that is Gaara. Now, there's been some rumors, which I reported on Nerds4Life.com, and that is the fact that Gaara could be a Jinchuriki once again. I know, he had Shukaku taken away from him during the early stages of Naruto Shippuden, and then he was brought back to life, and he wasn't the One-Tailed Jinchuriki anymore. We know that. In the Fourth Great Shinobi War, he didn't really befriend him, but he was able to work alongside his former companion for a common cause. They needed to defeat the enemy at hand, and they agreed to work together. And then after that, the One Tails officially said that he was going to return to the Sand Village. Well, not really the Sand Village, just the Sand Country, where that's where he belongs. That's where he wanted to live, and that's where he's going to go. Apparently, at this point, some point in time in the last 10 years, he may have rejoined Gaara. Now, we don't know why this is. There's a couple of theories as to why this is. It could be the fact that maybe he felt threatened. It could be the fact that maybe Gaara's life was in danger. We don't know why he has returned to Gaara. Possibly because the Outski, maybe Gaara found out that the Outski were hunting down these tailed beasts, and because of that, Gaara felt like it was safer to hide the One Tail within him, as the two together are a ridiculous combination. Gaara's a cage-level ninja without being the One Tail's Jinchuriki. Can you just imagine him with the One Tails within him? It's pretty overpowered to have him together, so maybe that's the reason why. Now, we don't know this for certain, but the preview did show for this upcoming episode of Boruto that Gaara, as an older man in his current state, we don't really know, but in his inner soul. So you know when Naruto used to talk to Kurama in the old days, where he was like in that damp room in the cage and there was water and everything? Well, Gaara is talking to the One Tails in that room, but not as his old young self, as his adult self. So that to me indicates that there's a possibility that Gaara is once again a Jinchuriki. And you can check out more information about that at nerds4life.com. Coming up next is My Hero Academia news. For My Hero Academia Season 3, which we have been enjoying thoroughly over the last few weeks. Now, My Hero Academia finally returned to us 3 weeks ago, and we got to see the young UA students undergo some intense training to improve their quirks, as we found out that their quirks actually haven't improved all that much in strength. Now, in the upcoming episode of My Hero Academia, we're going to see the young students, as well as some of the pro heroes on campus, fight the League of Villains who are finally making their move. Now, not all of them are in attendance. Most of the stronger ones are outside of doing something else. But some of the ones there are quite dangerous. Now, we saw them attack at the end of the last episode, and again, we've seen some pretty powerful abilities so far. There's been some smog, there's been some fire, there's been a lot of great abilities. They've already taken out one of the Pussycats, who, again, should be a pretty overpowered character and was single-handedly taking on all of the UA students in the previous episode of My Hero Academia, and she was beaten quite easily. In all fairness, she was attacked while not really paying attention. It was a surprise attack, so maybe if she was aware that they were going to attack, there might have been more of a fight there, but at the moment there doesn't seem to be too much. She hasn't seemed to do too much. But one thing that has worried us is actually next week we don't know if the students are going to immediately recognize that this isn't a training mission. The students were sent into the woods to undergo a training mission to scare one another, and in order to do that, they had to use their quirks. So a lot of these students might mistaken these villains' attacks as part of the camp's mission. So that could be a problem. That could be a really big problem, as they will be going either half-assed, not taking things seriously, or they'll realize, switch on and try to defeat these villains, who at the moment seem ridiculously stronger than them. It's going to be tough because at the moment Eraserhead is the only one probably strong enough to take on these guys individually, not one-on-one, not all together, individually take on these guys. And Eraserhead, well, he's actually training some students elsewhere for some extra lessons. So he's not even aware that this is all happening. So this is a big, big problem. In addition, all the students are exhausted from undergoing 4 days worth of training. and currently training right now. So it's going to be an intense episode in My Hero Academia coming up. And you can check out the spoilers on nerds4life.com. That's nerds, the number 4, and then life.com. Also check out all the upcoming news on the latest anime in One Piece, Dragon Ball, Naruto, My Hero Academia, all of them. Just check them all out. 7 Deadly Sins, everything. We've got them all right now. We're going to finish because, I'm done. Make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Tinder, all of it. We're on every form of social media you could possibly think of. I'll be back same time, same place next week.